if you're entering the workforce for the first time, or you're already in the workforce and you feel stuck, I have some pretty shocking realizations for you. The reality I've found is that there are a lot of career myths you might have heard throughout your life, and I want to show you now which ones are outdated and simply not true. Hello friends, I'm AshleyStahl, keynote speaker, host of the U-Turn podcast, and author of the best-selling book also named U-Turn. Get unstuck, discover your direction, design your dream career. My goal is to help you create a career and a life that's authentic, one that really lights you up. As a career coach, I hear from people all the time who have a false sense of security when it comes to their careers. And it's not their fault, it's likely what they were taught. But the workforce is constantly evolving. And when I say constantly, I mean that it's changing every single day. In fact, every 5 years, one of your key skill sets you honed is likely to become totally obsolete in the workforce, according to recent studies. I mean, look at what happened with COVID-19. The world changed in work almost overnight. But the fact is, the world of work is always changing with or without a pandemic. So let's explore the top 5 career myths that are possibly keeping you stuck. Number 1, once I land my dream job or make a certain amount of money, I'll be happy. Here's the thing. You might think that landing your dream job or making that bigger paycheck will make you so happy, but in the end, our happiness doesn't really come from our profession or our salary. There's research to prove it. It comes from who we are inside. Now, I know that sounds cheesy, but as someone who's landed her dream job, made a ton of money, and lost it all, I can tell you that your career is only one element of your life. There are so many people who are wealthy and stuck in tons of sadness. Happiness is about liking who you are. Fulfillment is about contributing your natural talents to the world in a way that makes you feel an impact and sharpens your skills. Sure, having a stable job and income that meets all your needs is really nice. It's important to be able to pay your bills. Certainly that would positively affect your life, but no job is perfect, and there will always be stresses and drawbacks. But the fact is, it's human nature to want more and more and more. That's just how we work. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't work to land the job you want, but you need to put things in perspective and be really realistic about this. If you want to be happy, keep the promises that you make to yourself. Make choices that feel in integrity with yourself and with others. And a lot of that means being fierce and authentic in your yeses and your nos. Myth number 2 is I should follow my passion. Growing up, were you told that if you follow your passion, happiness and money will naturally come? I heard that all the time, and it really got me stuck in my career. When I landed my job in counterterrorism at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., I thought that I had totally made it. I was passionate about government and culture and thought I followed that passion right into the right place. But you know what? Being a happy consumer of something does not mean being a happy producer of that thing. Here's what I mean. As a consumer, I love cupcakes, massages, and movies. It doesn't mean that I'm meant to be a producer of those things, meaning a baker of cupcakes or a producer of films. There's a difference between having an interest in something and having a natural gift or skill set for that thing. I was so blindsided by the advice to follow my passion that I never took time to think about if the field I was going to had anything to do with my natural talents and gifts. My passion for this field didn't really prepare me for the actual responsibilities I'd perform throughout the day. So here's a hard fact to swallow. Passion does not always guarantee success or happiness. Using your gifts does. That's why in my book, my argument is don't just do what you love, instead do what you are. And my book is all about helping you find that. Number 3, the myth is I need to pick one career path and stick to it. There's this idea that we need to choose a career at the end of high school, go to college, and get a degree in that field, and then work your way up in the field from there. But here's the thing. The pressure to choose a career starts early. I mean, as a kid, we always get asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's a pretty loaded question for a 5-year-old, no? Let alone a 19-year-old or even a 25-year-old. Your brain isn't even formed until you're 26. We really find out who we are in our career through experimentation. So if you're not willing to enter that process of trial and error, it's tough to really click into a career you're meant for. That's why, according to research, the average person changes jobs at least 13 times in their lives. After all, if I told you that you needed to get it right and marry the first person you ever dated, do you think you'd nail it? I don't know why, but we're somehow putting this insane pressure on ourselves and our careers. It's just not reasonable. So here's a permission slip for you. Backing up does not have to mean you're backing down in your career. You don't need to stay in the same career field your entire life. The career path you choose in the beginning or even last year, you can move on at any time. You can have that power. You don't have to quit a job. You get to quit a job. If you're no longer happy or you don't feel like you're developing in your career, it just might be time to move on, and it's okay to just rip the Band-Aid. You might be surprised to hear that according to the American Institute for Economic Research, most older adults who wanted to change careers succeeded at doing so. So if they can do it, so can you. Your job is to take your past experiences, make sense of them for your future self, and translate them. There are ways to always leverage your education and your experience into something new. All you need to do is be brave enough to take that plunge. Number 4, the myth is that you must perfectly match all of the job requirements to apply. We all know the feeling. We're on Indeed, we find the job we've been looking for, we click and we skim the posting and our heart sinks. We don't meet all the job requirements. It might be that they're looking for a different type of degree or experience with a certain software or a certain amount of management experience. As a student and a career expert, I hear from students in my online courses all the time who don't apply for jobs just because they don't meet every single requirement on the posting. This is bananas. If you feel even 50% qualified, there's really nothing wrong with submitting an application. You never know unless you try. Bonus points if you get on LinkedIn, find the hiring manager, and follow up with them on your application individually. This is a key way to get noticed. Number 5, I should stay at my job for at least 2 years. I hear it constantly. Someone's 11 months into a job and a better opportunity comes for them, or it turns out that the company isn't as great as you thought it would be and you're miserable. But you stay because you don't want to look like a job hopper. Once upon a time when we started a new job, we were expected to stay with the company for years. But the fact is, more people are job hopping than ever before. Data from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics revealed that people ages 25 to 34 stay in a position for an average of 2.8 years, while people ages 55 to 64 stay for an average of 10.1 years. Times are changing and many employers know that, especially if you're earlier in your career. Plus, with the millennial generation starting their careers during an economic recession and Gen Z starting their careers during a pandemic, recruiters understand that the energy of the workforce is very shuffled around. So if you're miserable at your job or something better comes along, it's okay to start at a new company. It's okay to be happy. You don't have to stay there just for the longevity on your resume or your LinkedIn profile. Don't sacrifice your happiness, your quality of life for a couple more years on your resume. It's just not worth it, especially if you're not growing a skill set you want to be growing. These are my top 5 career myths that keep you stuck, and if you believe any of them, it's time to drop the story because it's likely holding you back. Now that you know better, you can go have better.